Happy Thursday night, everyone.
Good Thursday. It's a good Thursday.
Sonia Ribas, welcome. Yeah, did I get that last name right? Did I say that right?
Yes, you say perfectly.
Perfect. You know, you never can tell these days. People, I'm really bad at like guessing how to pronounce names, right? Like if, so.
Welcome to my life.
I'm sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. Where are you at geographically?
I'm in LA, but I'm originally from Barcelona, Spain.
Barcelona.
I am excited to be talking to you right now for many reasons, but for the next 30 seconds, I'm going to Barcelona next month for the first time ever.
Oh, nice.
I am, it's my 50th birthday, my son's graduation from high school, his 18th birthday, and our 25th wedding anniversary all in the same month.
Wow, man, that's awesome.
So we are taking our first family vacation, and we're like of this length and this grandeur, and we're going on a big giant Europe trip. In Barcelona, we're going to be there for 2 days, so I'm excited.
I love that for you. It's a great city to celebrate all this.
Yeah, I'm excited. I speak Spanish decently, and but we never get to play with it.
He speaks it muy bueno.
I'm very excited to get to a place where I can speak Spanish. I nerd out with like polishing that when I can.
I love that.
That doesn't have the Castilian accent, though, right? That doesn't have the.
I know.
It does. No, right? That's.
Yeah,
No.
I love that you know that. I live in California. There's a lot of Latinos here, and they pick up on my accent being different, and they say, "Oh, your accent's different," and I say, "Your accent's different."
Yeah, your accent's different. Yeah.
Technically, we were speaking it first.
Yeah.
We don't have to get into the details in the middle, but
yeah. Right. That's funny. So I guess that's right. I never really gave this any introspection. Barcelona or Spain is the UK of Spanish, I'm guessing, right? Everybody came from there. So yeah, you know what? That sounds logical. And I never once thought about that until literally just this very second. I'm an idiot, I guess. That's
it's so wildly different, though. I remember having a Puerto Rican Spanish teacher at one point. And she's like, I was told you were really good. And I'm like, you talk too fucking fast.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. The Cuban woman thought I was great.
Yeah. Oh, man. So Sonia, listen, I'm excited to talk to you, but I don't.
This isn't about us or Spanish.
I want to hear a little bit about how you got to where you're at. I love hearing how people evolved here. So let's take it back. It's
our
one pre-canned question.
Yeah, it's the only question that we planned. The rest is who knows.
I'm happy to show you. A lot of the times people find what they're supposed to do. In this case, I do fertility, and fertility found me. So I landed in fertility not intentionally. And in a previous life, I say I have had 3 careers. So that's kind of like previous lives. In a previous life, I had a yoga company, and one of my yoga students called me and said, "Hey, my doctor tells me I'm never going to be able to have children." And I'm devastated. And I was like, "Oh my God, that sounds awful." And she said, "Help me." And I was like, "What do you mean?"
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Sure.
Wow, that's impressive.
Wow. I love that you have such a specific answer to that question.
She's got a counter going.
Yeah.
She's got just clicks a button every time she gets a yes.
That's amazing. Wow. So you hit a couple hot buttons.
And this has all been LA, huh? Okay. All right. Oh, okay. That's
interesting.
Cool.
How's that work? I guess you're just telling people like lifestyle, I guess.
It's interesting here, Sonia, because you're in that space where you don't have a license, so you're not restricted in a certain way, right? Like, you know, if you had a license in California, you wouldn't be able to do anything anywhere else. Yeah. Sure. It's funny when you said you were getting referrals from India, I'm like, wow, what do they do? Do they fly in and stay with you for like a month? Like what does that look like? Virtual makes a lot more sense.
All of a sudden, this is less confusing to tell. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about it, because you said your mom's a Chinese medicine practitioner. What does the program kind of look like? Because it sounds like you've got a wide net of training.
Tom is also a doctor of Chinese medicine, so he's asking. Yeah.
No, because I like to see how people are doing, like putting this together, because there's whole, and Sonia, you can confirm or deny this for me. There's whole trainings in fertility yoga, right? This is a huge discipline across various, yeah. Makes sense.
I mean, Tom, I at some point, based on where this is going, we'd have to bring up the healthy thin guys, because from a completely different standpoint, we had guys on the show talking about weight loss, and I don't want to say I called them out, but I was like, show me, like, I don't believe you. And I was shocked to find out with my own body that from a weight loss standpoint, even, it took a few weeks to get your body just in line, right? Like, that's toxins out, anything that you can get out, literally straight up whole food only, everything. But once that flywheel kicks in, it was crazy how many other things changed quickly. I mean, that was 2 years ago. I haven't had seasonal allergies since. I've said this a million times on here.
And I'm down here dying right now.
Yeah. Something that I had my entire fucking life, like has not come back. And it's like, I feel like my body just needed a minute to chill out and fix itself. And that was just something that I got. So hearing you say that is like, kind of like almost like common sense, but also I feel stupid not thinking about it. Like,
and I feel like Matt missed the best part of what you said,
which
when I onboard couples.
Oh, right.
Right. And this is, Sonia, I'm going to ask your opinions on this, but a lot of times, because it's a big thing for acupuncture. We see a lot of that in our clinic. I don't even claim to specialize, but it seems to be 90% of the time it's the woman that's coming in. Work with both men and women. How are you affecting couples? Because I think that's really smart.
Yeah, so I'm glad you're asking me this, because when we talk about fertility challenges, statistics say 33% of the time it's a woman factor, 33% of the time it's male factor, and 33% of the time it's kind of like combined factor. In my experience doing this for so long, I can tell you it's always a together factor. You can have more of a prominent issue in one of the sides, but we are all nowadays, 2026, especially in this country, we are all some degree of subfertility, right? So I don't say fertility for me is not binary. It's not either you are fertile or you're not. The reality is that we're all a certain degree of subfertility. So for all of us, male and female, there's so many things that we can do, proven by research, to optimize our fertility, which is an extension of our health. And today in the modern world, as you guys know, like, we live so far away, like so misaligned with our natural version of ourselves that would be the optimal health, that there's a lot of things that we can do to get closer to that natural, more optimized version of ourselves. And the great thing is that when we take those steps in a sustained way and with a personalized approach, meaning that we find exactly what it is that moves the needle for every individual, then we see amazing results.
So that's fascinating, but let me ask you a more pointed question. Like, what would be like one example of sort of something that is a joint cause of this subfertility? Like, I'm just looking for example.
Yeah. So one of the things that I see all the time is we have normalized very high levels of cortisol, stress.
Okay.
And it's such a cliche to say, oh, just relax and you'll get pregnant. But the reality is that high levels of cortisol are so inflammatory for both female and male that we really need to talk about that, because we've normalized a complete 24/7 state of fight or flight.
Right.
And what happens is that reproduction doesn't do well under pressure. Reproduction is, I always tell my clients, fertility is a luxury, reproduction is a luxury. So only when your body perceives that you are safe, that you are abundant, that your inflammation is low, that your nutritional density is high, in other words, that you have enough bandwidth to take care of yourself and be well, in addition to creating a new life, only then your body will say yes to a pregnancy. So how that looks for female, obviously, it's like your ovulation will work properly, your reproductive cycle will work well, your hormones will be stable, and they will do whatever they're supposed to do in the different phases of your cycle. Your endometrium will prepare and all that. And how it works for male is you'll have enough sperm and they'll have the right shape and they'll swim the right way. So this is an example of like how high levels of stress are affecting everybody in such a detrimental way.
Yeah, and I think that there was God, I can't remember where I read this, but anyway, it was the same thing that they were saying. They're like, we were only made to procreate when it made sense to procreate. Like if you're running for your life, it doesn't make sense to make that burden more. So we're just going to chill out until, and I was like, that was another one of those like, oh, duh, that kind of makes sense. But then again, I was just going to go with the cortisol thing. This little compound, man, cortisol, just no one ever knew about that when we were kids. And now all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, cortisol's a problem for everything.
Well, yeah. And specifically like, so the sex hormones look similar to it, right? All these things play in a symphony, and the cortisol goes, and then everything else goes. Yeah, so you can, and it's weird here because like this is the other thing that I'm sure Sonia gets into. Not every female is going to have that same sex hormone profile. Not every male needs to be at the top end of their testosterone, and certainly not for pregnancy to conceive. But it's interesting. You throw in cortisol, all those numbers jump.
Correct. Yes. So when we talk about stress, it's not just mindset fluff. It's, neuroendocrinology. So the hypothalamus, it's constantly integrating signals from your sleep, from your cortisol, your blood sugar, your inflammation, your emotional stress, your nutrient availability. So it's constantly scanning how safe and how abundant you are. So many bodies, like what I say to people is you don't have fertility challenges. Your body is adapting, constantly responding and adapting to your environment. So if we change that environment, we change your physiology. And your body will not prioritize creating life if it doesn't feel safe sustaining it. So cortisol is a part of that, and everything else that tells your system that you are safe or not safe, or that you have enough or not enough resources.
So are other the proverbial top 10 of things that impact this, are a lot of them sort of this safety and abundance adjacent? Like a lot of them relate to this, or is it are there other pillars involved in this equation?
So that's kind of like the safety and abundance. It's kind of like the overall kind of like intention of everything that we're doing. Now we need to land this into the different things that we do in our life. How are you eating? How are you drinking? What supplements are you taking? How's your body composition? What are you thinking during your day? What are your emotions? How are you controlling or not controlling your stress levels? How are your circadian rhythms? How are the toxins that you consume or that you are exposed to on a daily basis? How do you communicate with people? How do you relate to your partner? How's your sex drive? We talk a lot about sex drive here. And
I would hope so. You're talking about babies, man. You kind of need to talk about the sex drive a little bit.
Or test tubes. It's one or the other.
Yeah.
Essentially, everything that you do and that you're exposed to on your daily life that ends up becoming you.
Mm-hmm. This is a very epigenetic field, doesn't it? Right? Like this is the external things are the things that pull the trigger on whether or not certain things will happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is an epigenetic sort of vibe to that in there.
Yeah, I love that you're kind of, it's so savvy, Sonia, because like on one hand you're specializing in fertility, but on the other hand, like you could just rebrand this, know, to something else and be like, hey, look, if you want to lose weight, if you want to do this, if you want to live a better life, if you want to improve your sleep, if you're looking at it as this whole body kind of experience, this holistic overview, you're probably knocking it out of the park, not just for fertility, but for all these other things. Hey, I didn't know I wasn't sleeping. Hey, I didn't know my gut wasn't supposed to feel like that. All of these things that if you're looking like you are, I really think you're going to see people have just better lives, not just increase their fertility.
Absolutely. Like I use fertility as a biomarker of overall health.
Yeah.
And as you can say, you can replace this conversation very easily.
Sure.
And also I've been doing this long enough that my original clients have gone through menopause also.
Sure. Yeah, sure. They're right in that sweet spot there at 16 years.
So we talk about these things as well. I am not there yet, but I'm starting to have conversations, even though I typically talk a lot more about fertility, but they call me and they say, hey, how are we doing this? And I say, well, similar to how you got pregnant.
Similar.
So Sonia, when you're finally going through menopause and you shift your whole brand over to dealing with women going through menopause, we're going to have you back on. Okay.
Yeah. Sonia part 2, menopause. We're happy you had kids. Now come over here. Yeah. So what's first of all, I love what you're doing, obviously, but like I'm the one sadness piece of this is that this is novel to most people and that it needs to be so difficult of a transformation to do. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, and I'd love to reframe this as a question, but I'm guessing that a lot of people come to you and they're frustrated and they want help and they want to do it. And then you give them this list of things to do. And yeah, you probably have a nice soft way of doing it, but at the end of the day, they likely have to change behaviors at a root cause. And that's uncomfortable for most people I know.
Correct. Yeah, because modern life is often anti-fertility.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's anti-living.
Well, Sonia, it always amazes me when people are going for IVF treatment, right? It is one of the most chaotic and stressful things. And, you got to be at the doctor just at the right time. And then you're going to do these shots and the shots hurt. And, hey, that cycle didn't work. We're going to come back and change it up. And hey, you need to lose 3 pounds or we're going to cut you from the program. The amount of stress from the Western standpoint, right? Yes, they get good success. And fortunately, acupuncture was blessed by them. Like, hey, this helps. So I see a lot of those patients, but the better long-term investment is absolutely what Sonia's doing.
Well,
yeah. It's the guys it's easier to go get the shots and do the thing, but it's still not guaranteed, and it's not long-term health.
Yes, I always say to my clients, IVF can create embryos, but it cannot create health.
Sure.
What you need is health. And I'm not anti-IVF. I think there's a lot of fertility coaches who are anti-IVF. I am, I collaborate with fertility clinics in a lot of cases in which IVF is an incredible tool sometimes. However, 50% of IVF cases are not needed. And we should know that. Like, do you truly need that? Or is this a matter of creating more health and optimizing your system?
So are we thinking IVF is like a true last case, break glass in case of emergency? Yeah.
In my eyes, it's the very last resort because it's incredibly invasive. It can have side effects that can last for a long time, if not forever. And in this country, it's very expensive.
Yeah. It ain't cheap, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's, you're looking at a lot of money. I have a clinic that I collaborate with, and the main doctor told me one time this line, and it stuck for me. It stuck with me. He said, IVF is the most expensive lottery in the world.
Yeah,
that's very true.
Wow.
Yeah. So if we use the analogy of the lottery, if it's truly the most expensive lottery in the world, which I agree with, then let's get you as many lottery tickets as possible so you can win that lottery. And that's what we do here, right? We say technology can create embryos, but it cannot fully compensate for a dysregulated internal environment. So let's regulate your environment first so that you can have a solid chance at this IVF lottery.
And when you look at it logically, your body's not doing that because it hates you. It doesn't do that because it has a beef with you at all. It's doing that to protect you. Like,
exactly.
Hey man, you don't have the bandwidth to do this, so we're going to make this not happen. So like if you force that card, I can't even imagine the lottery that the second lottery that you inadvertently or by default join, which is what fucked up thing is going to happen to me because my body is not capable of sustaining this at an optimal level.
Yes.
So if you have some epigenetic pear-shaped craziness going on and you don't know about it, and something like this, obviously high impact stress from a stress standpoint, maybe this flips a switch you don't want flipped and you don't have the bandwidth to control it. I don't know. I feel like that's not a great lottery to be in either.
Yeah, that's something that is very important. What you're saying, the body will always choose survival over reproduction. Reproduction is a luxury function for your body. So if your body is not choosing reproduction, you need to ask yourself, why am I in survival mode? Right. That means there's things you're doing in your daily life that are making your system feel that you're not safe or abundant enough. And that requires attention, because today it's fertility issues and tomorrow it's going to be other different labels that you're not going to like.
Yeah. Atherosclerosis. Cardio, metabolic disorder. Yeah. You put insert thing here. Yeah. Let me ask you something of that category, because it seems to be like a big genesis piece of this is the cortisol, which is the stress thing. What have you seen? Like, I mean, is it the usual suspects? Is it work, relationships, money? I mean, is that what's kind of root causing a lot of your clients?
It's capitalism, Matt. It's capitalism.
Well, I see a lot of overstressed people, overstimulated people. We are caffeinated. We are stimulated all the time. As we were saying, we are in fight or flight all the time. It's addictive to be in fight or flight, like this constant adrenaline.
Yeah.
We are under recovered. We don't recover at night. I still have to meet people who sleep like truly 8 hours per night. It's very rare. And it seems to be a flex nowadays to say that you're so busy. We are sleeping poorly, over-caffeinated, undernourished. I see these a lot, especially with American clients. People don't know how to eat. And I say these with a lot of,
isn't it?
And I'm a dual citizen, so I have a lot of respect for both cultures. But like, a lot of people have no idea how to nourish themselves. Like, they think veggies is the thing that you have a couple times a week.
It's the lettuce on the hamburger. That's
veggies, right? That's it. It's a slice of tomato. Potatoes, French fries count.
Yeah,
totally. And ketchup.
Between the lettuce, the tomato, the onions, and the fries,
you got a whole salad.
Almost it's almost a vegan meal, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit of meat in between all of that.
Just a little bit of meat.
And bread that isn't bread.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I see people who sometimes they look healthy from the outside, but they're physiologically exhausted internally.
That sums up a lot of what I think about LA.
I don't think it's any better on the, like anywhere, but maybe
New York's the same way. Come on.
Baltimore's the same way.
Baltimore's not too far off. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. It's all over. That the reality is that it's all over. I have clients from everywhere in the world. It's pretty generalized. This idea of being completely overstimulated and under-recovered and undernourished and highly inflamed, that's probably across the board.
Yeah, I would say anybody with a cell phone in their hand is probably in that boat to some degree.
Yeah, I'm sad to hear, but not surprised to hear that other parts of the world are still, at least on the nourished part, right? Like I kind of had hope that like Europe still kind of knew how to eat real food.
God, weren't we talking to some dude from England and he was like, guys, we're just as fat as you are now.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, thanks. That's great. Try to catch up. We'll do something dumber.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that in Europe, most of the time, the nutrition part's better. But like they have other, like they work real long hours, for example, or like they sleep less, they go to bed really late. Like every culture has its pros and cons.
Sure.
But yeah, it's true that, typically in Europe, they eat a little better.
The Spaniards, though, they're eating dinner at like 11 o'clock at night. I don't know.
But they took a nap in the middle of the day. It's great.
I don't know how to deal with
let
that.
me conk out from 1 to 3. I'll be ready to go until midnight.
Well, I am from Spain, as you know, and I do spend like 3 months every year in Spain. And when I'm in Spain, I sleep a lot less.
Really? Is it?
What you're saying, we go to bed really late. We have dinner very late. Dinner turns into drinks on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then you still wake up early to go to work. I mean, I work American hours, so it's a little different. But like, the Spanish people don't sleep a lot. Like, I think it's a little bit of a myth. The whole nap thing, I think that's probably part of the past or something like that. It's not real.
That's sad to me, Sonia. I wanted to believe. I really like certain things bum me out. Like that sounds amazing. And I'm like, no, you're not doing it. No. Now you're going to tell me tapas aren't real.
Yeah.
What I see though in Mediterranean cultures, which I really love and that I miss when I'm here in the United States, is the sense of community.
Oh, I know.
Oh, we killed that a long time ago with our rugged individualism.
We drug that out back and
we were like, no, everybody's their own man, and you got to stand on your own island.
No.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah. That's very important. Like on any given Tuesday, if you are going through a difficult time, your friends will meet you for dinner. That will turn into drinks, and that will turn into a big community hug, and that's very healing. The community aspect is very important.
I mean, we don't have to beat this horse because we've talked about it a million times, but the Blue Zone study came out with
that's the number one thing.
The most shocking thing ever was that not food, not anything. You could smoke cigarettes till you're 90. It doesn't fucking matter.
Smoke cigarettes and drink wine all day.
Yeah, but a sense of community, you'll live forever. It's like this crazy, weird thing. It's like, what? Who knew? And I'm like, that makes total sense, though. We're made to be packs. Like,
meanwhile, I'm like, I can't be around any of these assholes. I'm like, I don't want to be around any of these people. I can't. I can't. No, I don't even think we're the same species anymore, to be honest.
But like, Sonia, we had a neighbor move in, and I saw them outside, and I told my wife, we were pulling up in the car, I said, I'm going to go introduce myself to the neighbor. Her and my kids looked at me like I had fucking grown antenna out of my head. She was like, what do you mean? And I'm like, what do you mean? What do I mean? She's like, you're going to go say hi to the neighbor? I'm like, of course I'm going to do that. Why would I not do that? She's like, I don't know why on earth you would ever do that. And then funnier still, I go and say hi, and the neighbor was like holding her kid a little tighter. She's like, hi. Who like, and I was like, what's wrong with everybody? I'm just fucking, who I am. You've seen me before. You knew I was a neighbor. Why are you like, why are we not like having dinner together? Yeah. Well,
yeah.
But it's weird. Like, when did we become like that? That's kind of an odd thing to, they live two houses away.
I feel like it got worse post-COVID, but it certainly was happening. I remember getting in the elevator when I was looking at colleges. We stayed, my mom and I were looking at colleges. We stayed at a hotel. I'm in the elevator the next day, and the woman gets in the elevator and says hi to me. And I look at my mom. I'm like, why the fuck is she talking to me? She's like, we're not in New York anymore. And I went, oh, okay. Like, I was really put off. It was so weird. Like,
say hi? Do I?
Hey, how are you? It was so awkward, and it shouldn't have been. Here's another person in the same space as me that should acknowledge that I exist.
So how do you coach around that, Sonia?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, these are all regular, normal people problems, but like, how do you fix that?
The sense of community we have, and I'm known for that, we have what we call the group hug, which is we meet twice a week as a group.
And so hug?
They have, it's a virtual hug.
Okay.
We call it, I didn't come up with this name, actually. One of my clients said, this is kind of like a virtual hug that we're doing here twice a week. I didn't come up with that name. She came up with it, and now we call it that. And it's funny because at the end of every program, I ask for feedback, and everybody tells me my favorite part by far was to meet with as a community twice a week, because it's so therapeutic to feel seen and validated with people who get it, who get you.
Sure.
And who are in the same season in life. So we do that twice a week, rain or shine. And they also have private meetings with me where we can have like more intimate conversations. But they truly benefit from having this group of women that shows up for, for each other twice a week.
So basically you're not even really giving them a prescription. You're just saying, here, we're meeting, come hang out. Like you're doing it without telling them that you're doing it.
Well, we do have a prescription. So the program has 3 tools. The first tool is the curriculum, is the education. So it's pre-recorded, and they access my education platform. It's structured in 16 modules, and that tells you everything you need to know and everything you need to do at the very detail to optimize your chances of getting pregnant from every possible angle. So there is a prescription, there is a curriculum. However, what's very important is that we don't stay at generic recommendations, but we land these into every person's reality, into every person's daily life. And that's where the coaching is useful and kicks in, right? So we have private coaching, we have group coaching, and they have unlimited access to texting me. So they text me their hormones, they give me updates on how the day's going, on what's happening, if they got triggered, or like if something happened in their real life. I'm very, very strong on practical tools and practical things that happen in your daily life, not just generic, theoretical stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of the world that we all kind of skirt through here, is that a lot of the people that are in this space are really more about selling the $29 a month subscription than they are about necessarily diving into particulars, right? And one of the big reasons why Tom and I even have this show is because of our deep founded respect for N of one medicine, right? Like, hey, listen, man, this is about you. Like, not me. Not her, not him.
No, and get the study information, get it from the biggest sample you can. But if you're outside, if you're an outlier, that study doesn't help you. And that's where it gets a little frustrating for a lot of people, where they've tried everything, they've been to this is the best whatever, fertility specialist, this is the best gynecologist in the state. And, either they've got nothing for me, or they're telling me exactly what the last 10 people said, and none of that worked, so I think part of the reason I don't say I specialize in fertility is because it's rough for these couples. It's really rough for the families. I think I'll say this. I think the female wears it heavier. It's heavier on them. But you see it on their faces when they come in, and it's sad. So I'm glad that you have this kind of built-in support network. I think that's overlooked. I think, maybe some of these fertility clinics will take a page from you there and pay a nurse to sit in and just listen to a group of people. But I do think that's a really valuable component there, Sonia.
Yeah, we do a lot of therapy here, whether it's formal or informal therapy, because every fertility journey comes with a lot of loss. Every single month is a mini grieving process, every single month is a big disappointment. There's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of grieving, unprocessed trauma, unprocessed grieving, and we need to process all that, and we do it as a group and individually. And the conversations sometimes don't look like fertility conversations. Like I had a client that I spoke to this morning where the whole conversation was about how to handle conflict with her sister. You would think from the outside, that's not fertility. Well, it is fertility for this woman, because she is completely traumatized by this conflict that has caused her to momentarily lose her sister. I mean, it's not going to be forever, but it does feel very real right now. And it's like she is in total fight or flight. So if we don't talk about that, we're not helping this woman.
Sure. Yeah. And through the lens that you've described tonight, I mean, as soon as you said she's in conflict, I mean, that's the first place I went. I'm like, well, hey, if we're looking at it through this lens, yes, that obviously is suboptimal.
Well, yeah, and we're saying cortisol here, but you could swap out, vagal nerve tone, right? If you're constantly in sympathetic, you're not in a state where you're nourishing any of that pathway. And guess where that nerve ends, man? It's genital area. You're hitting urogenital health, and you're not going to be able to conceive just because of that. So there's a lot of things pointing to that stress component, and I totally get that. Yeah, that makes total sense to me.
What would be like sort of like the next rung down? Is nutrition kind of like high up there as well?
Yes. So we talk about everything. Like, we first start at the physical layer, and the physical layer is nutrition, hydration, supplements, some movement as well, and weight management. And then we move on to something that's overlooked, but I talk a lot about, and we were talking about it here too, the mental, the emotional, the energetic layers.
Yeah.
I can give you all the broccoli in the world, but if you have unprocessed trauma, your subconscious mind is going to block a pregnancy. If somewhere inside you have stored at some point in your life that getting pregnant is dangerous, or that you don't have enough bandwidth to take care of yourself and another being, then no amount of supplements, no amount of anything is gonna convince your system that you're ready for that. So we are missing the point if we don't look at all the layers. And for some people, it's very physical, like I had a client who needed more avocado. She needed more fat. She was on this like low fat diet forever. The moment we started adding avocado, boom, she got pregnant. But for a lot of people, it's way more complicated than that. And there's a lot of layers that we need to unpack. So we have this 3-step system. We call it the fertility solution. And the first step is detox. The second step is nourish. And the third step is flow. So first we lower inflammation and we remove hidden stressors. So I say, let's remove what's blocking you. Then we nourish and rebuild the body through nutrients, blood sugar stability, nervous system support, and recovery. And finally, and this is the most important step, we flow, which means we personalize everything so the body can reach homeostasis and function optimally. Because fertility is not something you force, and a lot of people try to force fertility, and that's why it's unsuccessful. It's something your body allows when everything is aligned.
So when you see people doing this protocol at any level, really, but I'm thinking more like the straight A students in your thing, like the the people like really leaning.
We're going to do this to the letter.
Yeah, to the letter. Do you find that a lot of people have other things that fall off, addictions to, food cravings, cigarettes, booze, weed, cocaine? I don't know, like insert things here. Like, do you find that? Because when I'm eating like that and going to the gym and really watching, I don't really want to go smoke a joint. Like I do, but I kind of don't. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes. We also do challenges as a group. We did, March was a sugar-free month. Now we're on a protein challenge. So if you have things like cravings and things like that, like which is pretty universal for people to have sugar cravings, for example, we do that as a team and we support each other as a team because the withdrawal is very real. The withdrawal.
I was like, do you have rage rooms for that month that people can go visit?
Yeah.
We definitely vent and we share, it's very, very real. But yeah, for things like that are pretty universal, we do challenges. And then everybody, what we were saying, the personalization, everybody has little things, different coping mechanisms that you've developed over time. We have no judgment here, like we all have ours. And then we see if they're functional or not. Sometimes they're functional enough and we don't touch it, but sometimes it's like, hey, this is in the way.
It's heroin. It's heroin. It's my coping mechanism is heroin. It's funny to me because I can see by the time somebody gets to you, maybe they're like, I'll do whatever you say. But for those people that are like, I'm starting this journey, do you find that there's a bit of them having to buy in? right? I mean, is it hard to get them to say, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to change that, or is it mostly because by the time they're seeing you, they know there's something wrong and they're willing to do anything?
So typically that's a great question. So typically by the time people meet me, they have been trying for a long time, and they're more like, hey, tell me what to do at this point in my life. I don't want to have IVF, or I've tried IVF and it didn't work out for me. So I'm going to do what you tell me to. Rarely do I work with people who have not been trying for a long time. Also, my program is an investment, right?
Yeah.
So it's not something that you would do casually. I've had some cases, and I love those cases where people tell me, I want to be proactive. I love that. I'm going to get married in August, and I know I want to get pregnant in my honeymoon. So prepare me now.
Wow. Oh my God.
Wow. That's intense, huh? Wow.
That woman scares me.
Yeah,
Sonia.
yeah. I mean,
that
wow.
woman terrifies me.
Yeah. She's like, those are the ones that
not
don't
even I'm happily married. That terrifies me, just that person exists.
Oh, she definitely.
I'm sure she does.
She's like, we don't work with couples so much in that category. Weirdly, it's just the females that come in on that request.
I don't even have a boyfriend yet, but
But
if I'm not pregnant by the time I'm 29.
Well, we can laugh about it, but I do a lot of egg freezing preparation as well.
I can see that, right? You want the best eggs, right? Yeah, no, that totally makes sense.
We do that.
Is that
too.
like a growing thing? I mean, is that like a semi-popular thing?
Oh my God, dude! Anybody that has certain cancers, a lot of females that have cancers.
I'm not talking. I'm sorry, I should correct myself. I'm not talking about the the obvious extreme edge cases. I'm talking about normal. I'm not dying of cancer. Like just run-of-the-mill humans. That's a thing people are doing now, huh?
Oh, totally. Like people, like especially obviously women who are in their early 30s, if they don't have a partner that they think that they might want to start a family with, a lot of people are proactive today and they freeze their eggs. But they know that there's such a thing as influencing and optimizing egg quality. And I applaud them for that.
Yeah.
Sure.
I just think it's funny because if you see an egg freezing, if you're dating a girl and you're in your early 30s and you see one of those flyers for an egg freezing place, you're not the one.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah. Or they have a project. Like I have, like for example, she just got pregnant. I have a client who knew she was going to go to medical school and she knew her egg reserve was low. So we did egg freezing. Early 30s, she went through she had a couple embryos frozen. She went through medical school. She finished it. Now she's working as a doctor. And then she transferred one of the frozen embryos, and now she's pregnant.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome. And you know what? This is why, Tom and I joke about like we're on the dumbest timeline a lot. Sometimes we kind of think that in the parallel in the multiverse. But like sometimes I think we're on the best one too, because like those kinds of things, like imagine the science fiction, somebody living 100 years ago, 70 years ago, when you say that story. I mean, it's God, like,
I don't even think it was that long ago, Matt. I think it was probably like 50, 40. IVF really didn't take off. And wow, no, you're 100% right where you're going with this, but God, you were labeled barren.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like you just never, and I'm more to the point, Sonia, it's really more about options, right? Like knowing that you have this now, like this opens up an entirely different set of realities. I can go to med school and I'm not punting 8 years, 10 years of viable embryo health. I'm just pressing pause. And that's crazy option.
That's incredible. Yeah. Especially she knew that her egg reserve was low, so she knew it would be stressful.
And
and to have that knowledge going into all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's funny because we've had a bunch of people on this show talking about all kinds of crazy shit, but we had somebody talking about the science of an orgasm. And I'm like, you know what? I love that we live in a time where we have so much time. We've figured out so many problems that we have room to now talk about orgasm science. Like, I think that's,
I feel like we should have put that front and foremost years before we did I also have this weird quandary. I'm like, do you want to be a test subject or do you want to be the scientist studying in that case?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
I don't know what side of that coin you want to be on.
She had some funny stories though, but I'm like, this is the world we live in. And I think it's cool that we have all these options, and I'm huge on education. And that's why I'm kind of like curious who these people are. Like, I don't know if they're like prototypical basket cases that are workaholics that come in like, I don't know why I can't get pregnant. I'm on my third venti of the day. And just like, I've got, and they're writing an email for the company.
Some of them will be at the gym 6 hours a day, and you're like, whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Do you work there?
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's interesting to say that because one of the profiles of women that struggles the most with fertility is high achieving women.
Yeah,
sure.
And they're used to effort creating results in every area of their life, but fertility doesn't have this behavior.
Well, that's the other direction, right? You got to go the other way. You got to literally lay down for a little.
Yeah.
But not being able to turn off. Yeah.
Yeah, the harder you grip fertility, the more stress chemistry you create around it. And the same drive that builds a career can sometimes suppress fertility. So,
we had another fertility person on a couple of years ago, and she was saying that the sperm they found out is like the primary donor of placenta health biologically. And so these guys who are on their trophy wives, I think is the politically incorrect way of saying that. Now they were freezing sperm when they were younger, just in case they had a second marriage with the kid that they wanted to have post vasectomy or just with younger sperm. And I was like, that's really funny that we're worried about this. And so I had heard about freezing, but it was definitely not on the embryo side. It was definitely on the other side. Which also doesn't surprise me that a bunch of dumb idiot dudes came up with a system like this before anybody else. They're like, hold on, I got an idea.
Just in case.
just in case.
In case.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you know what? It's funny to me because I was hoping for a more mystical answer, but at the end of the day, like your answers make all the sense in the world. Like, it's like, oh yeah, that's logical.
I almost feel like
I wanted some kind of like magical, oh, look at this. And I'm like, no, just be a human and be healthy and balanced. And,
I feel like that's where we Matt and I always joke that, like, if you want to get famous, write a book on weight loss. Right. And, the thing that seems to consistently work, whether it's studies, is small changes over time and staying with it. Yeah. And it seems like you're giving people just good sound advice and magically they're getting pregnant, and they wouldn't think to do that on their own. They're like, maybe I got to be less stressed. Like they're too in it. We have a friend, Joe, that would say, you can't read the label on the jar that you're in, right? They're in it, they're living in it, and they can't see that, hey, I tweak here, I do this, I do that, and everything's cool.
Yeah. And, I do have to give it to people, like, it's one thing to say relax, and the other thing is how you specifically, your environment, with your daily reality, with your circumstances, how do you relax in a sustained way, right? And I help them with that. Okay, let's roll up our sleeves and let's figure this out for you specifically in a way that works for you, not just one day, not just 1 week, but that works for you forever. And people need help with this. And, you're not supposed to figure things out on your own. I always say to people, DIYing yourself, like your journey, your fertility journey is complicated. And sometimes we have blockers that we just don't know how to pinpoint them, or we just don't know how to address them, and we get in our own way. So that's why, coaching on the side is very, very useful, because we don't stay at top level. Like we land very, very practical, and we land this into real habits that change biochemistry.
And that imagination that you bring to their equation, I think, is probably what most people lack, right? It's like, okay, how do I creatively solve this problem? Because you're right. I mean, it's going to be, you might say the same basic thing to 100 people, but it's going to be said 208 different ways. Like, you know.
Yeah, and how things show up for different people. You know, like we were giving the example of this morning, this client who had a conflict with her sister. Like for every person, stress looks different. You know, for some people, it's the toxic boss. For some other people, it's like, you know, wherever I live, like it needs to be very tailored to every single person because of the principle of bio-individuality.
And that is definitely the nerdier, cooler way of saying the N of one thing that Tom and I have been yapping on about here for years. It's like, you know, we're all sort of us and only us, right?
Love that.
So Sonia, what I want to get to the Sonia commercial a little bit here because I definitely love the work you're doing.
You put up with us this long.
Yeah, but I actually want to say thank you specifically for I think this is one of those topics that doesn't get a lot of airplay in general. So guilty. It's not one of the things that came to the forefront of our sort of like list of topics that we talk about, although it is like foundational to why any of us are here at all. Like, so it feels weird that we didn't think of like having, you know, way more fertility people on, but I love that you gave us a little bit of your time to talk. It's super educational for me.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
So how do we find you? Where do we send people? Like, let's do the Sonia commercial here for a second.
Well, so if someone listening wants to understand this from a deeper systems biology perspective, I have a free masterclass where I walk through these exact 3 steps that we mentioned in detail. You can watch it at thefertilitysolution.com. And even if you never work with us, it will completely change how you think about fertility.
I saw that video. I didn't see the whole thing because I was skimming it as it were. But video's awesome, by the way. It's well done, and I just like the pace of it. So I actually, especially after having finished this call, I'm probably going to go back and finish it. But it was a cool video. I think that's a great resource.
Thank you.
And I love the fact that you're asking people to I have this free masterclass and you can kind of dip your toe, see if this program's right for you. I think a lot of people don't do that, and that little bit of free education really gains trust and shows people you know what you're doing.
I will only deal with clients or customers now. Like if I want to buy something is what I meant. Sorry. Just tripped all over that. If I want to buy something or engage in services, like I need people to sort of like demonstrate to me how they think. If you have a skill that I need, I assume that we'd be not talking if you weren't at least competent enough at that thing for me to have found you. But I really don't want to work with people that aren't really thinking about a problem, because at the end of the day, like you said, you can feed somebody all the broccoli in the world, but if you don't understand foundationally why that's a requirement, then like you're not really solving the problem. You're just memorizing a script, and as soon as the script is no longer valid, it doesn't work. So cool, man. Well, Sonia, again, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
It's been so much fun.
You guys enjoy your weekend. We'll talk next time. Take care.
Be subversive, irreverent.
Health is wealth, but you knew that.
Everybody knows that.
But so is following us on social media at Irreverent Health. And check out our website for more exclusive content at irreverenthealth.com.
Oh, I like this.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Irreverent Health.